Hello, viewer. We have with us a director of Symbiosis today to have a discussion regarding the career scope in Symbiosis at Bangalore campus and to also discuss about the current scenario of management education across India. Hello, sir.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. So, just wanted to understand the current scenario of COVID, which has impacted the education system of India. How do you see that, like people should cope up with this part?
We're talking about B schools to probably change their processes, internal processes to deal with that uncertainty. And at the same time, we are looking at how students can probably cope with the present scenario when they can't be in a physical classroom. So we always say in management that every adversity is an opportunity. And probably COVID had taught us that education as a sector, which has been least tech savvy or tech enabled, has got an opportunity to equip itself, in a technological way to probably reach out to masses. And if probably the academia can learn from this, then the cost of education can be brought down to reach out to masses, which can break the geographical barriers and the so-called elitist selection process. When we select only very few, couple of hundreds of students from thousands of students that apply. So good academic institutes can probably reach out to more number of students with quality education at probably a much reduced cost in future. So that is something probably can happen in future. So I say that yes, institutes across the world probably this is an opportunity to learn how to what you can say embrace technology to deliver, and most of them have done well. I mean, if you talk about India, yes, there are 3,000 plus colleges, MBA colleges, but I'm sure not more than 200 or 300 would have been able to do a good job. But that also shows that those institutes who have been able to do a good job, able to connect with the students, able to probably conduct their classes seamlessly, integrated evaluations, and probably fulfill the students' aspirations, then they would have an opportunity to reach out to masses in subsequent years. So technology has got now a place in education, which may make obsolete, many other substandard based schools. So the good colleges now they have got an opportunity to probably, not just stop here that this is only for COVID, but probably use it in the future to reach out to that masses. So in a way, this is a tough situation for those who are not able to embrace technology, adapt to the technology, train their people in technological ways of delivery. Right. At the same time, this is also an opportunity for all those good ones, as you say, that to reach out to that masses. Right. And for the students, if you say yes, the students who applied to a B school wanted to come to the classroom and probably learn in an environment, where knowledge is created in the classroom in the presence of the faculty. They have definitely lost out a little bit. But we always say that, we cannot aspire to be the best thing to happen, which is the classroom session for good institutes I'm talking about. But whatever is the best alternative, you know, in this prevailing situation. So probably, from that point of view, yes, students should not get disheartened, but try to learn or try to take the best out of the present situation. Okay, so maybe that would be my take on this.
Really great insight. Really great insight. I've spoken this topic to a lot of people, but this is a new dimension I'm getting out here. But sir, just wanted to understand, do you think that corporate will get the similar kind of resource what they used to get when the student used to come into the campus? Can you take on to that part as well?
See, as we say that, in a B school, when there is a face-to-face learning, now I'm talking about suppose the pre-COVID situation, at least in the top 10% of the B schools in India, if we say that, uh, we try to create knowledge in the classroom where the students are involved in a meaningful discussion in the classroom. So they just not learn from the saint on the stage, but probably they learn, in a facilitated discussion from their peers and also from the professor. And there is a lot of learning happens before the class, a lot of learning happens after the class, where they go back to their probably, hostel room and work together on assignments, projects, you know and this is not limited to, I'm talking about academics, but probably they work on multiple, what you can say, student led activities, Okay, so whether it is a seminar, whether it is a conclave, or even sports event, so that helps them in probably nurturing their leadership and team building capabilities. Okay, so what we are talking here now, that probably through technology we are still making them sit together, in small batches, work on assignments, and probably to learn from each other. But when it comes to the extracurricular, the co-curricular, and that learning that happens outside the classroom in terms of team building, leadership skills, and managing situations, dealing with conflicts, dealing with different types of students and still managing their things, those are few things we will definitely miss out. Okay, it's not that we are not doing it. Every good B school is trying to do whatever extent is possible. But still, I will say, students as well as the institutes are missing out a little bit on that front. But I'm still optimistic that after a couple of months, students will be able to come back to the classroom setting. So we will be able to probably make out for whatever is lost, and we hope that corporates, they will not lose out on anything when they get the finished product, after a year. And for the second
Perfect.
year passing out students, yeah, at least they have already spent 1 year, in the institute. So I hope that refinement has already happened. Okay.
I believe that even corporate has got the benefit of this COVID as well. Like what I could sense that like there was a speak up. Let's say for example, there's a company who has got capacity of around 2,500 people. Now during the COVID period, all of them have been asked to work from home. So even corporates are like getting the chance to use the same premises for bringing a lot of other resources, and they can get the work done from home as well. Primarily, from their side as well, I believe that even corporates are habituated after 6 months working into this scenario. They
Yeah.
are also understanding how to cope up with this changing scenario, and this might become the habit of entire country as well, isn't it?
Right. Right. See,
So,
working from home and working from that office, I think this definition, the way we used to define this, have changed. Okay, that has definitely happened, but it has happened to a very, very limited, what you can say, industries. What I mean here. Okay. See, earlier also the IT industry, the consulting industry, they had a concept of working from the client side or working from home. Not necessarily everybody needs to be, on the premises, and probably they have been using telepresence and, or technology to probably, bridge those barriers where they need not be physically at one place. And also because they're in different parts of the world, different parts of that country, distance matters. So work from home or work outside that office was a norm, which has now become little more prevalent because the situation forced. And once the situation forced, as we say, that we all try to learn from the situation. Now, some of those, I'm talking about especially the IT, ITS, and partly the consulting and the back end of the banking, and what you can say, the fintech, the edutech companies at the back end, people who are developing the content, or people who are, probably collaborating and making it happen. So a part of that is possible that they did not come to that office and they can work from home. So they will do a lot of saving in terms of their infrastructure, their day-to-day probably maintenance. And if that this is a model which is successful, and after COVID also, I think some of these companies will still continue. But to what percentage of that, to what percentage do they constitute out of the all those recruiters, of a B school, or even from that industry? Okay, so I don't think that this number is more than 5, 6%, or probably a maximum of 10%. Because when we talk from work from home, did not come to that office, this is mainly a trend in IT, ITS, consulting, and I say some of the back end operations, in fintech and probably, in edutech companies. But that is not possible, suppose in an FMCG company, or suppose probably in a durables company where you have to deliver. Okay, so yes, corporates have learned from it. They are realigning their business models where they understand that they can save a lot of cost, but not asking people to come to that campus and work. But in my opinion, that will be limited to probably few functions within an organization, and also only to the few sectors in the industry, not for everybody.
true. Sir, there's one more thing which I would like to ask. I was reading the article that a lot of international B schools across the world are willing to come down and open their campus in India, like Harvard's and other colleges are planning to come back. How do you see that? No, if they come back to India, how do you see whether it is going to impact positively to the Indian education system? It will work negatively because they might be little better as far as technology is concerned from most of the B school in India.
We always believed competition is good for that industry, and competition makes everybody efficient. Competition probably forces us to adapt to the new ways of doing things, and we learn from each other. uh, in pre-liberalization, we always talked about, we had this xenophobia, we didn't allow foreign companies, FDI was restricted, and we could see that post-liberalization, post 1991, Indian sector, Indian, domestic industries, family managed businesses, they didn't die, rather they probably equipped themselves to fight with the global giants, and they succeeded, right? Of course there would be some fatalities, we cannot ignore that, but overall that industry benefited. So if you say the Howards or the Kellogg's or the INSEADs or the Stanfords of the world will come to India, then they will look for collaborations. They will look for, what you can say, faculty members. They will look for research collaborations. So in a way that will probably, what you can say, improve the entire academic ecosystem in this country, and that will probably push others to learn and innovate and to probably be better than what they used to be, to compete with that best. So it will not be an easy time even for the best of the B schools to come and set up a campus here, because we always say that you should know the what you can say, the business scape or the education scape or the student scape, of any country. So even if at the beginning they may like to come with, in a collaborative manner, in a joint degree or in a training program manner, which will actually going to benefit the good B schools in India. So I will actually look forward to the time when the best of the B schools, of the world are actually, they have a footprint, they have a physical footprint, in India, in our soil, which is only going to benefit everybody, including the students. Students will be probably the biggest beneficiary out of this.
There was one more side of it. I was reading one article few days back that all the IIMs are now shifting towards MBA as they used to give PGP program earlier from 2017 IIM Act. They are shifting towards MBA education. What about those colleges, which is leading in India, has got good brand name, and they are providing the PGDM system? How do you see this transformation will take place?
Yeah, so this nomenclature called MBA and PGDM, whether it is a PhD or an FPM, I think they don't have much relevance in today's world. They didn't have in relevance also in the past, frankly speaking. IIMs used to give a PGDM. They never used to give an MBA because they were created in a separate act in the parliament. They were not part of the UGC. But whether it is placement, whether it is company going there, whether it is B schools across the globe partnering with them, or for research, right, or in terms of ranking and rating, or the demand of the students to be there, it was never hampered, because they're giving a PGDM compared to an MBA degree elsewhere, probably in a state or a central or a private university who were probably allowed to give an MBA degree. So I think what's in a name, we talk about, but I think whether it is PGDBM or MBA, it doesn't matter at all. Till we create, what you can say, that the quality atmosphere where learning flourishes and students learn and they're employable and they go and give back to that industry. To industry, what matters is that output, which are the students. They are the products who are processed in these 2 years of an MBA program, and that output is probably shopped by the, if I can say, by that industry, and to their benefit. And if they are trained well, and if they have been nurtured and cultured well in this 2 years of, MBA program or PGDM program, it doesn't matter whether it's an MBA or PGDM.
How does SIBM Bangalore campus adopted this change, and what are the new things which you have implemented in your campus to adopt this change of virtual classes?
Yeah. So frankly speaking, for us, the transition was quite smooth. It was not a big problem at all. Why is it? Because for last 4 years, we have consciously decided that blended learning is what is going to be probably, the way of learning for these youngsters, for these younger generations. They should not be taught every theory as a monologue. The classroom should only be used for creating knowledge, for discussions of case studies, while whatever has to be taught as a monologue, as a professor telling the students, those can be converted into video formats and integrated, lectures, video lectures, and they can be shared with the students. So in last 3 years, what we have been doing, we have invested in some interactive softwares which enabled our faculty members to create content, interactive content where not only the video lecture but quizzes are also integrated. So it forces a student, to go through those video, attend those quizzes, then respond and complete that video. So we have also in control that somebody has actually gone through it, not just switched it on and vanished. So there is a check and balance there that students must go through it, and whether he has gone through it or not is probably captured at the back end, because these videos used to be loaded, or even today they are loaded into a learning management system, which is Moodle. So for last 3 to 4 years, we have been doing this. A part of our content is actually blended, right? So they go through those video lectures, answer those small short quizzes, then read those case studies, right? We believe in a case method of teaching. So we have been in tie-up with Harvard Business School for case studies and simulations, and even non-Harvard cases from SBSP, Harvard Business School Publishing. So it means students go through those videos, prepare those cases, and come to the class for a case discussion. So our faculty members were quite comfortable in terms of creating interactive video content, and those content were actually loaded into a learning management system. So for a student, it was like a one-stop learning, so where they could probably access the videos of all the faculty at one place in the learning management system. So what we had to do is a very incremental change. Instead of hosting our LMS in our intranet, we just had to host it in a server outside, so that now whether they are in India or outside or irrespective of the place wherever they are, they would be able to access it. We just moved our learning management system from our intranet to an internet, and whatever we used to do 20%, 30% of our total delivery, now that has become 100%. Okay, but out of this 100% also, we ensured that around 20-30% would be what you can say asynchronous learning, which will be the material will be provided before to the students, and the rest 67 70 80% was actually synchronous learning in terms of live classrooms. So because we were in this process in last 3 to 4 years, it was comparatively a much smoother transition for all our faculty members. So, and I must say that our faculty members put their best. They are the real heroes in terms of adapting to. Of course, they were not new to the change. They have been working on it, right? But still making it full-fledged, 100% online. I think they did their best.
Okay. How's the placement going on this year? Placement season has just started off. Primarily, we have reached December. So how is the placement? How is corporate responding to as far as recruitment is concerned for SIBM?
So when we look at fintech, edutech companies, consulting firms, without naming all those companies, they have either confirmed that they are coming and they're taking either the same number of students or even more. And some of them have already, conducted what you can say pre-placement interviews and selected students. A good, bunch of students have already been offered in terms of their pre-placement offers based on their internship. All these internships were online, in the sense they did from their home. Okay, but a substantial amount of these students, they have already got pre-placement offers. Some of them got pre-placement interviews, and now this process is on. So we are not concerned when it comes to the offers from the tech-oriented companies. But when it comes to the hardcore sales and marketing companies, where students have to really be on the in the market from day one, we are still keeping our fingers crossed, right? So we haven't still till now we don't know whether those companies are definitely coming to recruit, but are they going to recruit less? They're going to recruit the same or more. Will it impact the package? The time is only going to tell us. But overall, if you look at the placement, there is no big impact at all, I would say.
How sales is important for everybody, I mean, for irrespective of the B School of India.
If somebody wants to know the pulse of that market, then interacting with the end customer is inevitable. If I quote what Professor Gurcharan Das probably mentioned about, unless you have got, torn shoes and dirty color, in the sense, unless you haven't soiled your hand, gone to the to the last mile and met the end customer, you don't learn much. Okay, you don't learn much, because you always say your first hand experience is your best teacher. Whatever you have learned in a B school, that is your basic foundation that you have built. Now on those foundation, how do you create probably a nice career, or probably how do you contribute probably to that industry? It all depends on your first hand experience. Okay, so barring say maybe 10-15% of those jobs where you may not go to the probably to the mid the end customer, still you can learn. I'm talking about some of the top jobs, in consulting. We talk about the top jobs, probably you can join from day one, right? From day one. And even in those sectors, I would say that if you have a couple of years of experience directly interacting with end customers, then that benefits. So I would suggest that each and every student who passes out of a B school must aspire to be in that market at least for a couple of years. Meet that end customer, travel in buses and rickshaws. Okay, meet not just distributors and dealers or wholesalers, meet the retailers. Understand how do customers come there, how do they interact, how retailers do their business. And probably develop a first hand experience on their own instead of just listening to others. Okay, and when they climb up in the ladder, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, I think these experiences are going to be probably a great investment for them. In terms of this, those knowledges will come very handy to that.
All right. Uh, like we all know that the output of any college comes up with the input kind of input which we give to the students. So what are the like when you recruit the student for your college, what are the basic few things which you normally focus when it comes to the selection at Symbiosis?
Yeah, so in one sentence, if I can say that, we look forward to a student who is trainable, in the sense who is willing to learn. So we just look for, when we select a candidate, we see, okay, does he have the potential to learn? Does he have the enthusiasm to learn? Okay, is he curious enough to learn within the 2 years? So I think that is probably one of the biggest criteria. Apart from, of course, we talk about leadership skills, communication, subject matter knowledge, how involved he has been in his course. Those things are all there. But in my opinion, probably one foremost thing we have to talk about his willingness and ability to learn. That will be
Okay. And what would you suggest to the student who is aspiring to be an MBA from any of the B school in India this for this particular batch? What kind of mindset they should be coming up with, and how should they take the best out of their MBA colleges?
so you mean to say this batch, because the batch which is in, because
2021,
they are doing it online, right?
right?
Yeah, so maybe I will say this to whatever I have been telling to my students also. In business, a lot of uncertainties. Okay, and when you go back to the world, there's a lot of uncertainties. There's a lot of ambiguity. And as a business student, you need to learn a lot about how to deal with ambiguity. And because there are a lot of things which are exogenous and you don't have control over those things, you have to decide how to make best of the prevailing situation. So in the prevailing situation, it doesn't allow to be on campus and learn. So it should not probably demotivate you. Rather, you should always think about how to get best or most of this present situation. Okay. So we can say that the sessions are different, but presently whatever we are doing is the best alternative. And so similarly, is the best alternative. So probably whatever is the prevailing situation, without blaming the COVID, without blaming the situation, they must try to make the best out of the present situation. They won't.
Perfectly all right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving a deep insight about SIBM and also from the management education perspective. Thank you so much for your time today.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for having me. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir.